So obviously the descriptor technology is used a little differently here. They are not necessarily machines, but they are tools. Obviously you can call them technologies as well, but the lists are very useful and very good. Implementation strategies, cost benefit analysis, institutional barriers, knowledge gaps, and so on, all have to be dealt with as well for each of these issues. So let's look at the next one here, adaptation technologies for too little water. So we have again adaptation response technologies description, and the report provides links to technology description briefs, which are definitely worth pursuing if you're interested in the details of any of these things. So let's deal with water allocation as an adaptation response to too little water. Technologies include basin level modeling and seasonal forecasting, seasonal water rationing, water reallocation. Okay, again reading a few things off. A planning instrument or set of instruments to help optimize water allocation in a river basin among competing water uses. When you have too little water, already this year it played out between, let's say, the state of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in India for a river that originates in Karnataka and flows into Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka has faced severe drought this year, and Tamil Nadu actually got a little excess water, but that doesn't mean they're going to say, oh, we have more water, you keep it. They want their pound of flesh, so they demanded water, and the Supreme Court said you must give water. And so these water politics are quite they are not very easy to manage. You don't want to be in a situation where you are in charge of deciding these things, because there's no rational behavior from any side, and there is no careful attention to water issues before the rainy season anyways. A planning instrument or set of instruments to help optimize water allocation in a river basin among competing water uses. A combination of hydrological and economic models are typically utilized. First, to estimate total water availability, which can then be used to assess environmental and economic impacts of different allocation management scenarios in the basin. This can help decision makers gain an overall picture of current water use trends and to make optimal and sustainable water management plans for the basin. A wide array of models is available. You can look up here, but essentially you are talking about tiding over the crisis situation, let's say this monsoon, and then the coming Rabi cropping season, and you expect that rains will arrive on time next year. So God forbid something happens and you get 2 droughts in a year, then these can get really bad very quickly. So it's not just about crisis management, but you also want to plan water storage and allocation for the next season as well, because Indian rainfall is very tricky. You get, Tamil Nadu, for example, gets northeast monsoon as well, and Karnataka gets some northeast monsoon, but mostly southwest monsoon. Seasonal water rationing, an approach to control water use rates among different users based on the seasonal availability of water and socioeconomic priorities. Rationing may take the form of water use restrictions for certain purposes in certain times or certain areas. The aim is to maintain equitable use among different users as well as high levels of water productivity throughout the year. So this is very common in the US. When droughts come, there are advisories or even regulations made not to water lawns, for example. Okay, water reallocation, the transfer of use rights between users who have been allocated a certain amount of water through formal water use rights and entitlements or informal arrangements after it's been determined that initial allocation is physically impossible or socioeconomically unfavorable. This played out again between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, where the sharing agreements are made, but during a drought these have to be again reconsidered. Okay, resource reallocation can help adapt to unforeseen circumstances like critical water shortage during the dry season, reduce stress on renewable water supplies, and help optimize water use benefits. Can either be voluntary or non-voluntary. So Karnataka doesn't want to release water, but Supreme Court says you should, and says how much water, 3,000 cubic meters per second or whatever, I think. So, or total 3,000 cubic meters per day, I think. Okay. Water augmentation. You want to make sure if there is ways to bring more water into the system. Rainwater harvesting or for infiltration. This should happen all the time anyways, but it gets much more attention when you have a drought situation or too little water. Also known as in situ water harvesting, this is a practice in which rainwater uptake in soils is increased through soil surfaces, rooting systems, and groundwater. Soil effectively acts as the storage agent, which improves water holding capacity and fertility and reduces risks of soil losses and erosion. Examples include terracing, pitting, and conservation tillage. Agroforestry is another big method that I love that does rainwater harvesting, or at least enhance soil moisture retention and groundwater recharge, nutrient retention, crop yields, etc., even during normal years. Urban green spaces. Green spaces are areas covered by vegetation such as grass, bushes, and trees, particularly relevant in urban settings where they help to uptake and infiltrate water, decreasing runoff rates, which also often contain excessive amounts of pollutants. Okay, so to conclude this table, water augmentation has more ideas: conjunctive use of surface and groundwater. The combined use and development of surface water and groundwater aims to increase the overall resilience of water supply by utilizing both sources of water, and particularly in communities and basins with higher water variability throughout the seasons. It often focuses on the advantageous role of groundwater for water storage, distribution, and treatment through biological processes or natural filtering. So not enough is done to, in fact, make sure that groundwater recharge happens, especially because extreme rainfall is increasing. Drainage systems and vegetation are not able to handle the runoff from heavy rain, so much of it runs off into the ocean, but these methods can be used, like also agroforestry, nature-based solutions, artificial wetlands that we talked about previously, and so on and so forth. Managed aquifer recharge. This is more about that. Water management approach that can be used to maximize natural storage and increase water supply system resilience during the periods of low flows and high seasonal variability. During these periods, aquifers are intentionally recharged to recover water. So there are many ways in which these are done, so you can look them up. Source water protection, which is always critical, entails measures that restrict overuse and pollution of water at its source, and may include regulations such as water allocation quotas, water quality compliance regulations, compensation schemes as well, for example, payments to industrial or agricultural users to reduce use of pollutant or extraction volumes, payment for ecosystem service schemes, or conservation measures in the upstream watershed. So farmers may be incentivized to increase crop yields, so they are given water rights, they are given subsidized electricity to pump groundwater, but during too little water periods they can be incentivized to pay back for the electricity they don't use to pump water, so reduce water use and energy use and get paid for it, and so on. Okay, such systems do work in terms of incentivizing reduced use of water and pollution, of course. So the next item on adaptation response is water efficiency and demand management when you have too little water. So water efficiency in industry, behavioral, operational, and technological changes for improved water efficiency in industrial production. Let me read that again. Behavioral, operational, and technological changes for improved water use efficiency in industrial production includes more effective leak detection and repair of water pipes, and use of new and more efficient technologies such as pipes, smart dosage system, timers, high efficiency cleaning systems, and water management systems. These obviously take priority during periods of too little water, but they should in fact be working all the time. But when there's enough water, nobody pays attention. Even the enforcement gets a little lax in that sense. Improved irrigation efficiency aims at minimizing water use within the agricultural sector while continuing to maintain optimal crop production rates. Technologies include more efficient irrigation systems where water release can be controlled so that crops receive only the amount needed. For example, pressurized irrigation systems such as drip irrigation. In fact, here is where subseasonal to seasonal forecasts are used for water use efficiency and water planning, so that you convert weather forecasts at short, medium, and extended range. So days 1 to 3, 3 to 10, weeks 2 to 4, and so on, to manage agricultural irrigation efficiency much better. Water metering, a method including necessary equipment that helps users to account for water consumption rates that are often coupled to pricing charges per unit consumed, so that when there is too little water, you ramp up the penalties or tariffs on water use to incentivize more economic water use. So you even be careful while taking a shower, for example. Reducing system water loss and leakages, measures to improve efficiency in distribution systems and avoid unnecessary withdrawals. Real water losses are defined as the amount of water lost between supplier and consumer, while apparent losses are defined as those due to inaccurate consumption measurements by the consumer or utility. Water leakage tends to be a massive loss in the water circular economies, for example, especially in the urban systems, as well as illegal tapping and stealing from the supply pipes from the source to the system. Okay, public water conservation campaigns aim to change citizen attitudes and behavior to improve water use efficiency. Includes education and awareness campaigns on the socio-economic and environmental benefits of water conservation and different conservation methods. These things work because people do raise their antennas when there are water shortages, even though it can be a common good, saying if my neighbor is not worrying about it, why I should worry about it. But you have people who do worry about it, and you want enough people who do worry about it and then take care of the issues. Water use efficiency and demand management also has progressive pricing, economic instrument to manage water demand and help reduce excessive water consumption through an economic disincentive. Hydrological zoning, an approach to divide land into different zones based on their hydrological properties. Typically, each type of zone has different land use and development regulations linked to it. Okay, there are further details here on land, worrying about land salinization, over abstraction, groundwater pollution, water logging from irrigation, etc. Water licensing and permits, a water demand management tool requiring private landowners or at times specific potential water users to apply for or purchase a license or permit for water use or water affecting activities such as construction, diversion, artificial recharge in the watershed, and so on. Many of these are applicable in the West. Even in the US, the Western US has different issues than Central and Eastern US, and Global South countries have different issues with population pressures and systems that are not very efficient, and so on and so forth. Also, it's the issue of whether they are privately owned water systems or run by the governments, for example. Shifting the timing of use from peak to off-peak periods, very easy approach. Water savings requirements in building codes. This has become very common in at least urban centers in the US, where each apartment complex or high-rise has to have grey water recycling system. Enforcement is not as strict as it should be, but so moving to water storage issues in terms of adaptation responses. Surface reservoirs, of course, built structures for water storage that help improve water security. The types and sizes of reservoirs vary from damming natural water bodies for storage to groundwater excavation in low-lying plains, fed either by rainwater or diverted rivers. This is very important for managing water bodies, natural hydrologic structures in rural areas which have, high demand for agriculture and domestic use. Multi-purpose dams, dams that combine two or more functions of traditional single-purpose dams into one hydro infrastructure project. A multi-purpose dam may combine storing and supplying water for irrigation, industry, and human consumption, with other uses such as flood control, power generation, navigation, runoff storage, and water discharge regulation. Okay, soil moisture conservation techniques. Approaches and techniques usually in agricultural practices that aim to mitigate soil moisture stress and reduce direct evaporation and increase the water holding capacity of the root zone. So agroforestry, low tillage, no tillage, etc. are very useful here. Natural wetlands. Utilization of wetlands ecosystem services for climate benefits may include wetland restoration or conservation activities, avoided degradation, etc. And rainwater harvesting for storage, also known as ex situ water harvesting as opposed to in situ. This is practice in which rainwater is collected and stored for productive use. The rainwater can be directly captured in open storage systems, but can also be collected from roofs, soil surfaces, or roads. The most common storage device for harvesting rainwater are tanks. This is very common for domestic use now. So we'll come back and look at adaptation responses when we have too much water, let's say from excessive rainfall. So India has this combination of too little water and too much water now based on where you are. Northwest into Pakistan is often getting not just too much water but extreme rainfall, which makes it harder to do rainwater harvesting and so on. So we'll come back and look at that. Okay, these are obviously useful, that's why I'm recording them and putting them here in this section on adaptation in the water sector, but you obviously have to follow up on the details. I provide very brief introduction to the topic and give you a reference to the report in case you want to follow up. Okay.